schizophrenia. The word itself sounds heavy, like a door slamming shut in the mind. For 23 years, I lived with this illness, a constant companion that cast long shadows over every aspect of my life. Schizophrenia is a complex mental disorder that affects how a person thinks, feels, and behaves. It's characterized by a disconnect from reality, often involving hallucinations, delusions, and disordered thinking. Living with schizophrenia is like navigating a world where the lines between what is real and what is not are blurred. It's a constant struggle to make sense of the world around you, to differentiate between the whispers of your own mind and the voices of reality. The illness can manifest in many ways, but for me, it began with voices. The voices were insidious, creeping into my thoughts like unwanted guests. At first they were faint, almost indiscernible from my own internal monologue, but gradually they grew louder, more insistent, until they became a cacophony that drowned out all other thoughts. I remember the first time I heard the voices. I was in my early 20s, a young woman on the cusp of adulthood. I was at work, surrounded by the familiar sounds of the office, when I heard a whisper, clear as day. "They're watching you." I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. I looked around, but there was no one there. The voices became a regular occurrence, whispering dark secrets, accusing me of things I hadn't done. They told me that I was in danger, that the government was after me. I believed them, why wouldn't I? The voices sounded so real, so convincing. I became convinced that I was being followed, that my phone was tapped, that my every move was being monitored. The voices told me that I was part of a vast conspiracy, that the CIA and the FBI were involved. I felt like I was living in a spy thriller, my life transformed into a terrifying game of cat and mouse. The delusions took root in my mind, growing stronger with each passing day. The voices told me that I had been chosen for a special mission, that I was the only one who could save the world. I was terrified, but also strangely exhilarated. I felt like I had a purpose, a destiny to fulfill. One voice in particular became my constant companion. He called himself the Commander, and he barked orders at me, telling me where to go, what to do, who to trust. I obeyed his every command, convinced that I was acting on behalf of a higher power. My days were consumed by the delusions. I saw secret messages everywhere, hidden in plain sight. I believed that the news was tailored specifically for me, that songs on the radio contained coded instructions. The world had become a minefield of hidden meanings, and I was constantly on edge, trying to decipher the clues. Section 4. Confronting reality. The voices were never real. The realization that the voices weren't real was not a sudden epiphany, but a slow, agonizing dawning of truth. It came in bits and pieces, like shards of glass reflecting a distorted reality. There were moments of clarity, fleeting glimpses of the world as it truly was, but they were always followed by a resurgence of the voices, pulling me back into their web of deception. It was during one of my hospital stays, surrounded by doctors and nurses who treated me with kindness and compassion, that the truth began to seep in. They listened patiently to my ramblings, never dismissing my fears or belittling my experiences. They explained to me with infinite patience that the voices I was hearing were not real, that they were a symptom of my illness. It was a difficult concept to grasp, to reconcile the reality I had known for so long with this new, unsettling truth. Section 5. The impact a life upended. The impact of schizophrenia on my life was profound and far-reaching. It affected my relationships, my career, my sense of self. The delusions led me down strange and often dangerous paths. I made decisions that in retrospect seem utterly irrational, driven by fear and paranoia. I lost jobs because of my erratic behavior, my inability to separate reality from delusion. I pushed away friends and family, convinced that they were part of the conspiracy against me. I was hospitalized multiple times, each stay a stark reminder of my illness and the havoc it wreaked on my life. The constant fear and suspicion took a toll on my mental health. I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety, conditions that often co-occur with schizophrenia. I felt hopeless, lost in a maze of my own mind with no way out.